Hi everyone, my name is Kurt Brown, and I'm a technology librarian at the Charleston County Public Library. And this is our CSS Basics 2 video. This is the 5th of 8 web development videos. In this video, we're going to learn how to use classes. We're going to use our div containers from our HTML Basics videos. We're going to learn how to use and change fonts. And then we're going to use the text align property to align our text. And in the last video, we learned how to use selectors, and we changed the color and the background color. So now I'm going to leave the slideshow. We're going to head into our code. And here's where we left off last time. Okay. So what we're going to do now is learn how to use classes. And I'm going to switch over to our style.css file. And so as you can see, we have an H1 selector, and that selected all H1 elements and changed the color to blue. And H3, we selected H3, and that selects all H3 elements and changed the color to red. So a CSS class allows us to change the style of a specific section in our website. And what we've done so far allows us to change the style for everything labeled body or paragraph or our headings. But if we want to get more specific, we can do so by creating a class. So let's jump into our index.html file. And do you remember we created 3 divs? Okay, we created 3 divs. All right, so divs allows us to break our code into sections, but we didn't do anything with the divs yet. Okay, so right now, everything in between this div is in a container. Okay, so now we're going to begin to use our divs. So if I want to only change the color or the background color, for example, of this top section here, okay, so all of this is our div, is in a div, all right, and if I just want to change this section here, if I want to change the color, what I'm going to do is we have to give it a class, because if I go into my code, if I go into my CSS file, and if I type in div, it'll change all of our divs. Okay, but if I just want this section here to change colors, okay, we'll have to give it a class. All right, so to give it a class, come to your div and add class. Now equals, and unique quotations, now we'll have to give this div a name. And since this is our top section, and gives us our name, you know, what we do for a living, let's just call it introduction. Okay, and that's all you need to do to create a class. Let's do the same thing for our other 2 divs. So this section is called education. So what I'm going to do, class equals quotation, education. Okay, and then our last div, class equals, let's call it hobbies. Okay, you can put almost whatever name you want in the quotations. Okay, there are some limitations. Okay, you would not want to use a name that is a tag or one with spaces in it. Okay, so now that we have our divs ready to go, we're ready to go ahead and select them. So our top div, this one is called introduction. Okay, so there's a different way to select a class. So to do this, we will have to use, you're going to define a selector by using the name that you assigned a div, and then you're going to have a period in front of it. So for example, dot, and our first div was called introduction, okay, and then curly braces, and that's it, okay? So now, what do we want to do with our introduction div? Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's change the background color. Okay, let's change it to pink. All right, so now when I click run, just this top section here should be pink. The background should be pink, okay? So let's click run and let's see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, the section that's only the top section is pink. Okay, had I just put div here, all 3 sections would have been pink. okay, but I'm picking this top section specifically, okay? So now that we know how to use a class, let's do this to our other two classes, okay? I'm just going to copy and paste. Now our second class was called Education, and our third class was called Hobbies. Okay, so now I'm going to change our education to, let's do yellow. Okay, and hobbies, let's change it to purple. Maybe not purple, because over here we have our ordered list in purple, so we won't be able to see that. So let's change it to orange. Okay, let's click run. All right. And again, if you need to see this in a new tab, go ahead and click open in a new tab. And as you can see here, we have 3 different sections and different colors. Okay, and so this is how you use a CSS class. Okay, so now let's talk about using and adjusting fonts. Okay, so another property that we can use is the font size. Okay, there are a lot of ways to set this, but the best way to do this is through an EM. Okay, and an EM is relative to the current font size, which in most browsers defaults to 16 pixels. All right, so let's say I want to make the text of our web page twice as large. What I'm going to do, we're going to go to the body. Okay, so we're going to double the font size. So font size, okay, colon, and what do we want to change it to? So 1 EM is equal to 16 pixels. So let's do 2 EM, and let's see what happens, okay? So our text should be doubled. All right, so now, as you can see, our font is a lot bigger. Let's check over here, refresh. Okay, so as you can see, we have a really big web page now, okay? All right, but I just wanted to show you how to change the font size. So I'm going to actually, for now, comment this out. Okay. So now, let's say we want to change the font. Okay, so we want to change the font. All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to open up a new tab, and let's go to fonts.google.com. Okay. All right, and now as you can see, there's a lot of different fonts that you can choose from. Okay, so go ahead and go through and pick one that you like. I know which one I want, so I'm actually going to search for it. Okay, and as you can see one you like, give it a click. Okay, and there's different styles, so select a style that you want, and I'll just stick with the regular 400. So when you find one that you like, come over here and click on select a style. Okay, there's 2 things you'll have to do. So over here, click on embed. All right, so to embed a font, you'll have to copy the code, and you're going to copy this into the head section of your HTML. So as you can see, I'm going to copy this code here, and this belongs in our head section. Okay, so there's a lot of code here, just be really careful. Paste it here up top. Okay, and then the next thing you have to do, your CSS rules here. So font family, I'm going to copy, and I'm pasting this in the body. Okay. Okay. So let's give it a click. All right. And so font family real quick. So this is the style, and serif, if you don't know what serif is, so serif are these little hooks here, okay? All right, and let's check. All right, see, it looks a little more fancy. All right, let me see if, let's do the 2EM, okay? All right, see, as you can see, it looks much more professional, the font at least. All right, So now, another thing that we can do is the text align property. Okay, so the text align property is going to specify the horizontal alignment of the text in an element. So let's say I want to shift my first section from the left side to the center, and we'll do this. Okay, so first, I just want to shift my top section. All right, so we'll have to go back to our div class. Okay, text align. Okay, so we have our div class, introduction, and what do we want to do? We want to align the text. Okay, so it's called text align, and then a colon. And then you have three options. So you have a couple of options, left, right, or center. Okay, so left shifts it to the left, right shifts to the right, and then center centers it. And there's other options here. But let's say I want to just move it to the center. Okay, and let's click run. All right, let's come over here. All right, so as you can see, now our introduction is in the center. And let's just go ahead and just comment out again the font size and refresh. Okay. All right. And the font may be a little small. You can go ahead and increase it if you need to. But our website, our web page is done. Okay. And again, with the font, you can feel free to change the font size or find another font. Okay. But I like this, so we'll stick with this. Okay. All right. So that is the end of our CSS video. All right. And in our next couple of videos, we're going to be learning how to use JavaScript. All right. So thanks for watching. Enjoy your web page and feel free to share it with others. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in JavaScript videos.